Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Witcher 2 Dark Mode difficulty video walkthrough. This is still chapter 1 and this is the Kayran's Lair. And I think I've maybe uploaded these in a wrong order because I believe you've already seen me kill the Kayran on my channel and this video's not gone up yet, so hopefully people will be able to use their own imagination to fill in the gaps and understand the order that these will go in, and then I'll compensate in the playlist for the people that stumble upon it later on. But this is Flotsam. We've just got ourselves into a whole host of ruckus just then, introducing the Kayran monster. The way you trigger that is when you go into the inn and speak to Zoltan and Dandelion. If you have the conversation about their past, you'll get interrupted by a sailor. He's going to run in and it's going to trigger all the goodness that is to follow. So basically, to sum it up, to surmise, you and a sorceress named Scylla de Tarsville, I think her name is, are being ordered essentially and paid when you come to this merchant here to get rid of a monster that is stopping the barge on this canal from trading, I assume, with Flotsam and the surrounding areas.
In that case,
And this guy here, man, I don't know if you can intimidate him or whatever, but everything I've tried has failed on this dude, and I think all you have to do is do one of the dialogue trees, and that's the way to get past, because the intimidation fails and the hex fails as well. So I think you just have to say one of the options and it'll get you the... I think it's the one where you ask him to pay you up front and you get money early. I think that's pretty much the only victory you can get on that guy. But I could be wrong. This was only my second playthrough, guys, so I don't really know too much about the game, and there are plenty of people commenting on the videos that have got much more experience than me, so I'm sure that they'll pick up my slack and explain. But we're off to talk to Cedric. Cedric is one of the elves who's knocking about in, I think it's Labinden, this area out here. Interesting this, because as you know, there's a deep prejudice in the Witcher world between elves, well, between any other species and humans, essentially. You know, it's one of those great things about humanity. We love to be xenophobes and bigots and all that other fun stuff. So the dwarfs, the elves, I don't really know if there are any other races off the top of my tongue aside from monsters and stuff. You know, kind of complicated relationship. And when you talk to Cedric, he's going to ask you to find, I think it's mucus. Find the mucus of the Kayran. I can't actually read the screen, guys. It's so fucking blurry in the preview window. It's really difficult to see. But this involves going with Triss to kill a bunch of drowners and then picking up the mucus, bringing it back, and I think that's pretty much all this mission is. It's a simple mission. The drowners are only difficult if Triss kind of fucks you, because for some reason the game developers decided to let friendly fire affect you, and I will never understand it, because the AI does nothing but spam spells, and if you have a sorceress on your side, she will fucking hit you with the spells, and it does wicked damage. It's really dumb. But for the most, she'll distract the drowners and you can hit and run them and kill them quite easily. You'll also be able to open a chest, which is going to key off a side quest called Mystic River. It's one of the quests you're not going to see me cover on this playthrough, or this guide, sorry, mainly because it involves several phases of something, and it's not really challenging. It's more a case of been there, done that kind of thing. But a couple of things to point out as well, because I am... Oh, that's important too. When you leave Laredo's residence after stealing the plans and talking to Scylla de Darville, if you don't pick up your stuff, it'll be in this box, and I completely forgot to pick my shit up, so if you're wondering why I've come back up here, it's to grab what was already owned. But little trivia now, anyhow. In the Witcher books, I'm currently reading a book called The Blood of Elves, and at this point in the book, Geralt is on a barge that's being attacked by this mythical creature that's supposed to be extinct. And I'm not too sure if that's the inspiration for the Kayran and this part of the game, but the town that he's doing it in is not called Flotsam, and the monster is not called the Kayran, so either that's, you know, some embellishments on the developer's side, or it's a separate story that's going to happen in the books that I've not come to yet. The second thing as well, something very similar, is Geralt tells a story about a rose, a special rose that the elves had, you know, before the war with the humans, before a great tragedy happened with the elves, where essentially there was a very famous elven female leader. I think she was called Eilena, or Eilrina, something like that, and she led all the elves in rebellion against the humans that were imposing on the land, and unfortunately it was a massacre and they all died, and she died a martyr. And I think she is one of the leading people, well, the leading forces, like the figurehead behind the Scoia'tael, or the squirrels as it is in Elvish. But there's a problem with it, and then the reason why it's looked on as a great tragedy is she led all the young men into battle. You know, all the young and the full of spunk guys that want to stand up for something, that want to be part of something, that don't feel like they have a purpose just yet. And in this fiction, the elves are only fertile when they're young, because elves live a long time. And their initial response to humans when the humans turned up is they believed that it was just going to be a phase and that it would pass. So they receded into the deep forests, and through doing that they hoped to outlive the humans, and that the humans would all, you know, fucking kill and steal and just make themselves extinct like we're really, really good at doing. And then they could come out from the mountains and from the forests, and, you know, the earth would be cleansed of this parasite known as human beings. But we proved to be a little bit more resilient than that, and it just didn't work. And one of the big prejudices between elves and humans is the fertility of it. The fact that humans replicate like rabbits, and the elves can only do so with virile young males, and the majority of the young males went to fight this war and were slain, so they're kind of a dwindling race, or so it's insinuated. Oh, this is interesting. So I'm coming towards this graveyard, and I'm not too sure if you've seen the fight in this graveyard just yet. There's a side quest here when you do the troll side mission. Not too sure if we've done it, but when you come back up onto this section, once you've talked to all the appropriate people, there's a fight against a couple of humans, and the big bulky human guy, I believe he can throw knives at you, and he throws knives through enemies, through geometry, and sometimes you can't even see him and he's nailing you with knives. And on dark difficulty, it's really cheap and challenging for no real reason, so the best thing to do with him is just close the distance and take him out, and then focus on the little dudes. Well, speaking of the little dudes, here comes a guy with a pike, or some kind of lance, and he's got his little buddy with him. So as usual, hit and run, get a couple of hits in as soon as you see them respond or try to counter, get the hell out of there, avoid your back getting clipped, and just keep chipping away. But you'll notice the Espadon doesn't do the dashing attacks, which is what I'm having trouble with here, because I'm so used to Geralt being really, you know, fast flowing. That was weird, he didn't even do the animation of firing the yard. Crazy. I am really curious as well to see what this game is like on PC, because the first Witcher game and this one are so different, it's unbelievable, and there's stuff in the first game that I wish was in this game, and it makes no sense that it's not, you know, because it was in 2007 when Witcher 1 came out, and when I run it on my PC at 120 frames per second on its like max settings, it looks fucking beautiful. Like, it looks better than this, and it just makes me wonder what the hell this must look like on PC. But back to the story anyhow, there was a rose that grows on the monument of this fallen idol in the elven folklore. Ooh, that was bad. Bounced off his shield. And I think it might be the Rose of Remembrance, but the problem is in the book, it only says the Rose of, and then it's an Elvish word, and it never tells you what that word is. It just lets you, you know, read it and imagine, I guess. So I'm curious if that is either the Rose of Remembrance or inspiration for the side quest that happens in Flotsam. And I'm sure you can probably check the wikis and things and find out, but I think it's pretty fun to speculate that kind of stuff, because I just don't know, and I kind of like not knowing, you know. For a lot of things, I would rather be informed, but for when it's something quite subjective and quite, you know, artistic, I think it can be quite cool not knowing. And if you look at the most popular videos on Dark Souls, they are generally the lore videos, and the one truth about lore is that nobody really knows the answer. You know, everybody just has their own speculation, and it's interesting to theory craft. And it's one of the reasons why I get so frustrated with the people that take, you know, community built lore and try and palm it off as fact through ignorance and possible immaturity, which really is irksome to me. But I understand why they do it, because it seems like it makes sense, but just because it makes sense doesn't necessarily mean it's true. But you should remember this place, because it's the place where we fight the Kayran, if you've played the game before. And if so, you probably already know what I'm doing in this side quest, so pretty damn simple. But The Witcher 1 is so different to this one, it really is. Like, even the quests are different. And I don't mean, you know, the obligatory, they are different because it is a different game. Just the construct of them. A lot of them involve doing several missions for several smaller characters and then coming together to make a decision on who you believe. And each of them put forward a pretty convincing argument. And I always pick the one that hopefully allows me to bang the woman, because I just find it hilarious. And on the first game, they don't do the big sordid sexy scenes. They insinuate the scene, and then they show you this card that's got a painting on it that's, you know, some really good artwork, but not safe for work, some of them. Some of them you wonder, who the hell did I just bang? Because there was a sorceress in a village that I helped out who a mob were going to lynch and burn. So being a gentleman, I killed them all, but before that I knocked her face off. And the picture it showed me, she was squatting like a cat, almost, you know, like some kind of lioness, and she had all these crazy bones and necklaces. She looked like Ace Ventura in, you know, When Nature Calls. Really strange. But as you can see on the map, ton of red dots turning up, ton of drowners. This is the kind of crowd that can kill you really quick just through the way the game works. There is the insta-kill. And on the first Witcher, those animations do not have a priority. They do not go into any kind of cutscene, there's no immunity to it. They do it in real time, and you are very vulnerable while it's happening. So something to bear in mind if you play the first game. But as with this game, the first one, if you upgrade Ard, or if you just use Ard, it is so overpowered. Like, somebody mentioned on an earlier video that their strategy was to use the Yrden traps, and mine was too on my first playthrough. I really liked that sign. And then I discovered Ard, and I realised it is so overpowered. It really is. Even the base Ard, you have a random chance of stunning an enemy and instantly killing it, and it works on golems. And if you've not seen a golem yet, it looks like a boss, and for all intents and purposes, it is a boss, and you can instantly kill it. So, like, never underestimate the effectiveness of this sign. And the only enemies that are immune to it seem to be bosses or unique encounters, like the Druga and things like that. But one of the things I really wish was in this game was dismemberment. Specifically, decapitation, because I just think it would suit the game. And when I was playing the first Witcher, it has decapitations. I was just beating up a crowd, you know, doing my thing, being a Witcher. Next thing I know, I swung my sword and the dude's head just launched like Michael Jordan had thrown it. And it was amazing. It trailed blood everywhere. It was still on the floor after the fight. I looted his face, which made no sense because I was stealing things his body was holding, but I'll let them off for that. And it's not in this one, which makes me think that the version on the PC probably has it. But all you have to do there, guys, is backtrack to Flotsam and get your reward, but I've trimmed that bit out because it's needless. Thank you for watching, and as always, you take care now.